How is everyone doing out there? This is Crime Chronicles with T. I want to start doing recaps on different type of crime shows. I'm really addicted to crime shows like all of the Law and Order, Criminal Minds, things like that. Of course, everyone that watches some of these shows, they're not coming on right now, but there are some new shows. Like one of them is The Irrational, starring Jesse Martin, and he actually played on Law and Crime years ago. So I want to start doing recaps. Hopefully you guys will enjoy. So The Irrational, it just started last week. So I'm going to do recap today on season one, episode one. I want to show you a preview of it, and hopefully you guys can start watching. Now this show comes on Monday nights at 10 o'clock. So no, it's kind of late, but it's definitely, in my opinion, it's a good show. So just let me know your thoughts, and I hope you guys watch the show and enjoy it.
Know people and why they do inexplicable things.
You're the science guy.
That's Bill Nye. I'm actually the behavioral science guy.
Morning, Professor.
Hello, hello. Welcome to Applied Psychology 101. Are you familiar with predictable irrationality? Paradoxical persuasion, attentional blindness, bereavement sex.
Nothing irrational about that.
I did it. I must have snapped.
How did it feel when you shot her?
I don't remember.
What kind of gun?
I don't know.
He confessed. He did. But I think he was mistaken.
Why are you so sure he's innocent?
When we remember things, we remember images, specific details. But he's a former Marine who couldn't remember what kind of gun he fired. Whoever did it is still out there. Pride, revenge, the perfect crime.
You're the world's leading expert in human behavior.
Why are you looking for outliers?
The answer was right in front of us. We just didn't see it.
Who do you think you are, James Bond?
I think I threw my back out. People are irrational, but predictably so.
One error in judgment leads to another.
So this is just a theory.
Well, gravity was just a theory at one point.
All right. So like I said, I hope you guys can go on and watch the first episode. You actually can catch it on Peacock right now if you have access to that. All right. So the lead character, of course, he's a professional behavior. His name is Alec Mercer. So he's really a professor, pretty much. He's called upon to investigate the murder of a fashion influencer whose boyfriend, a decorated soldier, he's also a senator's son, who actually has confessed to the crime. However, the professor suspect there is more to this story. Now, the suspect name is Dylan. He does have a drinking problem. After he served in the military, he was going to these AA meetings, which also his ex-girlfriend was going to. Now, the professor did interview Dylan, where Dylan explained exactly what happened. He did say he went to the bar. He was actually drinking with the person that was killed, which was Jasmin. He stated that they were intimate. They got into a fight, and then after that fight, he pretty much blacked out. He said he just remembers pulling the trigger. Now, the professor does not believe that Dylan committed this crime because of how Dylan actually explained the details to him. So, what he was trying to do is figure out, okay, why is Dylan actually confessing to a crime that he didn't commit? So, the detective started going on Jasmine's social media and just trying to figure out, okay, what's going on here, to try to investigate her social media, kind of see what she posts, things like that. So, of course, while he's going through the social media, the detective was talking to his sister that he actually lives with right now. So the professor, he kind of met back up with the DA after going through the social media, and he started going over this scenario to where he sent his students to the grocery store and then after try to see what they picked up at the grocery store. And so he noticed that based on what he was telling his students, they started also confessing to things that they actually didn't pick up or remember. So he's like, okay, something is not right. So of course the following day professor went to the AA meetings where Jasmine and Dylan actually met. Now the concept was mentioned that they kind of him and his assistant would kind of mention Jasmine and Dylan's name to see who would actually kind of walk up to them and approach them. Of course, that was pretty much what happened. Now, after this, the professor got a call from someone named Layla, who could also be a suspect. Now, th- at first they was thinking that Layla was a suspect because she started saying little things like Jasmine ruined her life and she actually broke into Jasmine's home. So at first I was like, maybe she could have done it, but maybe not. Now Alec, who's the professor, he went to see his ex-wife who was Marissa, and you will get to know her on this sitcom. Now he was kind of going over Alec was kind of going over his ex-wife about the nightmares he's been having because he actually served in the military. All of his friends got killed except for him. So he's kind of going through still this type of process. He was because of course he was the only one that survived. Now during this process, the guy who did this killing is up for parole. Now Alex met his wife, his ex-wife, during that whole process because his ex-wife is an actual FBI agent and she was on that case. So you'll get to see this. So later, Professor met back up with Dylan. Dylan, after looking at the video from Jasmine, saying he didn't feel safe. So looking back at the video, there was a knock at the door, and then the video ended. So they were trying to figure out, okay, was this Dylan knocking on the door, or was this someone else? So of course they went back to the AA meeting again. After the meeting, the professor actually talked to a guy who was like the mentor, and they actually at this point he realized, okay, this has to be the guy that actually killed Jasmine. So they was kind of going over. So professor went outside with this guy, and he mentioned to him like how the gun was never found. So next thing you know, the guy pretty much pulled a gun out on the professor. He's like, oh, so there's the gun. Of course, it went to commercial, came back. And the guy by the name, his name is Ray. He made the professor actually drive his vehicle while he had the gun on him. He basically confessed. Ray basically confessed to the professor that he wanted to take Jasmine out, but Jasmine did not want to go out with him. Jasmine actually pulled her gun out on Ray, and then Ray took the gun from her and shot her. So this is how they came up with this conclusion. Of course, he confessed, and that's how they found out he was the killer. Now, in this process, the professor was driving fast. The car ended up swerving over, and then the next scene, the professor is in the hospital. The DA stopped by saying that, after all of this, of course, all charges have been dropped from Dylan, which is the ex-boyfriend. Then the DA started talking to the professor, just asking him what he would consider in, assisting with other cases. Of course, Dylan came to visit professor at the office just to advise him, thanks for helping me out. I really appreciate this. Then later on the scene, the professor went to the parole hearing where the person who helped him, had hurt him years ago. Parole saw someone, the parolee actually saw someone. At first, he's, confessing, saying, hey, I'm sorry for what I did. But then when he turned around, it's like someone scared him. So he went from saying, oh, I apologize, blah, blah, blah. Then he started going, no, you know what? If you let me out of here, I'm going to burn up more churches, things like that. So whoever he saw truly scared him. So obviously he been working with someone else. They tried to run after whoever the person was, but the person ended up leaving the scene. So I guess as time goes on, we're actually going to see, okay, what's going on? Who was this person working with? Because it looked like he wasn't the lead person on this killing from the church burning. So just let me know your thoughts. I hope you guys will continue to listen to my recaps and actually watch this show because so far I feel like it's pretty good. Thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts.